Hey everybody, and welcome to video 10. I finally got everything up to date and uploaded yesterday, and then I forgot to film anything at all, but that's okay. Natalie and I had an absolutely tremendous day in Waverly Hall, and nothing went as expected, and it all went so much better. So, we got there and the forecast said thunder and rain, and we were like, ooh, okay. And we were kind of nervous, and my dad had just told me about a tropical storm that was coming in, and I honestly don't know if it was related to the thunderstorms we had yesterday, but in my head it is. And I was like, oh, my dad is right, we need to seek shelter today. And so we didn't seek shelter. Instead, we got out and we walked around town, and we just started talking to people. And actually, the first person we talked to, he approached us. He was leaving the gym that he runs, Lee, and Lee was like, oh, what are you guys up to? Because we were just walking around taking pictures of things and kind of like laughing and skipping around and, you know, being us. And we were like, oh, hello. And we started talking to him, and he gave us kind of an overview about, he was like, this is just a really friendly town, but the pandemic hit and all the restaurants had to close, so it gave people a lot less incentive to drive out from where they live in the country or the nearby census designated areas and actually drive into town, so that kind of has crushed a sense of revenue. By the way, a census-designated area is a place where there are enough people living in a geographical location to put it on the census, but there isn't an actual town. After further research, Lydia is actually a census-designated place, and not, so while it is the town of Lydia, it is a census-designated town. I'm still doing more research to try and figure out what that means. But
hello.
There's
Staring myself out.
It's a little like swampy. We're in the south. So that was really neat. So then we went to this auto body shop that actually is no longer an auto body shop. It is now a family-owned semi-truck business, and they actually got a deal with Amazon. So their drivers drive for Amazon. They have 7 drivers now. They did not have to lay anyone off with the pandemic because of it, though one guy did have to go just because of normal reasons. That
it was time to move on.
That's what she said.
Yeah.
The lady told us that it was time, and I said, oh, and that was all we got. But so that was really neat too. But while we were in there, rain just started pouring. We had heard, like, thunder before we were walking around, and we were like, ooh, thunder, like, that's not good. And then we were like, ooh, when it rains, it's just gonna pour. And then it
lo and behold,
it did. And it was like, we like, stayed in the place with the family in their auto body shop for probably about 10 minutes longer than we would have if it was not raining. But that led to some good conversation about their pets, because we had already exhausted about the business. And the dog bed is under the man's spot, so it's a wife, her husband, and then their daughter comes and visits. She lives in the nearby city of Columbus, and they were talking about it, and we were like, oh, we see you have some furry friends in here normally, and he was like, yeah, I'm glad they're not in here today. And then Natalie was like, well, the dog bed is under your desk. And everyone was like, the dads are always their favorites. It's always the dad. So I thought that was funny because my dog also gravitates to sitting on my dad's lap and being kind of like a very, very cute inconvenience. So it was pouring rain. We left there. I had my raincoat over my backpack and myself, so I was like a tiny little turtle. And Natalie was like clutching her cheetah print umbrella, and it was like up to my ankles in flash flood water. We were like, okay. So we were like gonna walk back. We were like trying to figure out what to do. We were like, let's just go, because we didn't hit everywhere we wanted to go to yet. And so we were like, do we go back to the car? So we were like, okay, let's just go to the next place that has shelter and we'll figure out what we're doing then. And so then this cop car pulls up next to us and we're like, hi. And she rolls down the window and she's like, do you guys want to ride to town hall just where you can dry off? We were like, what? Because, thunder and rain. And she was like, I can take you to town hall. And we were like, all right, it's an adventure. So then she had to get out and open the doors for us. And we got in the back of the cop car. And she drove us down the street to town hall.
Can I go out to the car and get something, or will that disrupt you?
No.
Okay.
I mean, I'm already going to have to delete this segment.
Okay, but I'm allowed to come in and out.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Just live life. We're living life. So we got in the back of a cop car, and we were like, okay, it's an adventure. And City Hall is like a couple streets over, but every City Hall we've ever been to so far has been closed for COVID, or like no visitors, or like closed to the public, or like closed until a certain date, pay water bill here. So I was like, guess we're going in the City Hall. And I was so excited because I was absolutely ready to see the inside of this place. And so we were talking and she was like, I saw you guys taking pictures before and I was wondering what you were up to. So then we got to tell her a little bit about our project and what I've been doing in my research grant. And then she takes us to town hall and lets us out and walks us up to the door. And this lovely lady opens the door. And it is voting day in Waverly Hall. And town hall is completely closed except for the polls. And I was surprised at the dynamics I was seeing. So everywhere, I'm very aware and very up on all of the riots that have been happening in larger towns and larger cities. And I was not expecting such a pleasant relationship between a white police officer and people of color. Like, I would have just assumed that those kind of negative feelings and that kind of like power that is being held in the Black Lives Matter movement right now would have cast down. But in tiny towns like this, there's a different kind of relationship between police and the people. And that's one of the things we were talking to Lee about, the first guy with the gym. And so she drives us there and she walks us in and everyone's like, hi! And then she's like, these two girls, can they just drive off here? And they were like, yes! And it was black women who were running the poll station. And so everyone like took us in. We were just kind of like standing there dripping and watching, just being flies on the wall. And there was this elderly lady, and so after making sure we were all safe and dry and all was well, and the police officer left, and she was like, bye everyone, like, hope polls are going well, people are out voting, and everyone was like, they are, and I was like, woo, voting. And so then this guy runs up, and he's like, wait, did she leave? And then this like elderly woman is sitting on this little chair next to us where we're dripping. And the ladies who were opening the door and running the stage were like, yeah, she just left. And he was like, can we get her back? Can she give this woman a ride? Because it's raining. And so the elderly woman was white, but everyone else involved in the story are people of color. And so he ran out after the police lady and then brought her back in, and she gave the other woman a ride home and dropped off the other guy on her way too. And I was like, so surprised. This was just so unexpected to me to see this relationship.
It was so refreshing.
It was refreshing.
It's just nice to see people being kind to people no matter what. Like,
right.
Crazy, right?
But also, I don't know. I would not have expected that at all. When we got into the police car, one of my fears was that if someone saw us, they wouldn't want to talk to us because that we would be associated with the police, other than being associated perhaps with the town or the people. And that made me nervous. But it worked out wonderfully. And so we were offered a seat in the auditorium in Town Hall, and we found out that their Town Hall used to be an elementary school until it was converted in 1955. And we just had a great talk with these ladies. And people kept coming in and out of the poll stations and asking us what we were doing because they didn't know us. We weren't from there. And we were telling them about our project, and some of them were very enthusiastic and were like, oh, take my picture. I'll be in your project. And other people were like, oh, okay, have a nice day. And it was just a beautiful experience, and something that if it didn't end up dramatically thunderstorming, we wouldn't have gotten to have. And so far, other than yesterday, our weather has been miraculously beautiful. It might have been hot, stuffy, and humid, but it's been not raining until yesterday, which landed us in this great situation. And we just stayed and talked there for a while and just watched these small town dynamics. And so one man came in to vote, and the woman who let us in, let him in, and she was like, hey, and he was like, hey, and then she was like, so, and he was like, oh goodness. And she was like, if you see a snake on your yard, I'm going to need you to kill it. And he was like, did you send a snake over my way? And they were neighbors. And I was thinking about how in Charlottesville, if I was voting and I ran into one of my neighbors, how bizarre that would be. And at college, a little less bizarre because the polling station is at the community center right off campus. So there's tons of college kids there. Which is wonderful. Keep voting, college kids.
Everybody vote.
Everybody vote. And I was just thinking, this is just so normal that they see their neighbor, that they all know each other, they know the police, and there might be disparity in other places and all these negative things happening, but it somehow, and I'm sure it does affect them or affect different people. But in the short time that I was there to witness this at town hall voting, it was beautiful. Because you could just tell how invested every single person was in the community. And in that moment, that was all that mattered. So that was a beautiful experience that we got to have in Waverly Hall. So today we are headed to Notasulga, Alabama, and it is about an hour and a half away, and we're spending one night there. And I am so excited. I'm wearing special pants that I got because when I saw them, well, I was going shopping before this trip because I needed a new pair of pants and some shorts and some things I didn't need but I wanted. And I got these pants that I saw them in the store, and I said, oh, those are Alabama pants. Why I consider them Alabama pants, I literally could not tell you. But they're my Alabama pants. So I'm ready to roll. We're so excited. And looking at the map, Notasulga is more of like the size of Flovilla than Swansea or Waverly Hall or McAdenville in terms of like geographical location of everything. So spending one day there will be good. And I will try to film more on the road today and actually in town, because between the rain and the surprise visit to town hall and everyone else we met, it totally slipped my mind to film there. I just was so caught up in the moment. And then literally on the drive from Waverly Hall to where we're staying right now in Columbus because it was thunderstorming, and I was like, we are already soaking wet, let's just get a motel room. And Natalie was like, okay, you don't have to tell me twice. And so in the car back, I was like, Natalie, get the notebook, write down everything they ever said. And Natalie was like, what? And I was like, quotes, we have to write the quotes. And she was like, okay. And so then we were just taking all the notes, and Natalie would be like writing ferociously as I was like spouting off quotes. And she'd be like, hold on. And I'd be like, once I say it, it goes away. It was very dramatic. There's your Waverly Hall update, and it's just me looking at the screen talking, which is a little bit of a bummer. I know you're not actually getting to see the town, but you will in my pictures. I have an art Instagram at Kieran Rundle Productions, and for the trip, Natalie is going to be running it and posting pictures I'm taking along the road. So follow us and see what I've been taking and what Natalie's posting, because then you'll actually get to see some of the pictures for the write-up or the end result of this. And I'm not really sure what that's going to be. I know that I want to write some kind of a book, but I don't really know if I'll be showing pictures anywhere or something like that. But I hope everyone gets a chance to see them because there are some really beautiful people and some really beautiful moments out there. So I'll try to get more footage, not of just me sitting and talking to you today. I took some pictures in the rain yesterday, so that was an adventure. And now I will end my little Waverly Hall spiel with a picture of me at the town sign. I've been making Natalie take pictures of me at the town sign every single place we go. Lydia is the only place we don't have because we could not find the town sign. And the city limit sign was not accessible. It was like swamp, really fast road, swamp,
Also
sign.
probably way too tall.
Yeah, and it was probably double my height.
Yeah.
But it's okay. And that's a wrap for video 10. Stay tuned for video 11, where I'll be talking all about today and our first stop in Alabama. Thanks again for watching. Follow us on Instagram. Hey everyone, we are in Notasulga, Alabama. It is beautiful. It just stopped raining. It was raining really hard when we first got in. So we were dashing towards this Mexican restaurant and totally missed the correct door and went in the... It was awkward, but it's all good. They had delicious food and 10 out of 10. We're gonna walk around Notasulga. They officially have one yield light here in Notasulga, and see the sights, and then we may or may not head on to Moss's tonight. All right, there's your update. There's the town hall. There's the Mexican restaurant we just went to. There's the yield light. The other stores here, both of these are both closed on Wednesdays. This just happens to be poor luck with that, but this is all right. There's my ketchup bottle because I'm insane.